I believe wholeheartedly that Marvel Rivals is actually incredibly balanced. Now, I know there are pain point characters here and there who sometimes feel like they may be a bit overtuned or they may be a bit too strong, namely Luna Snow, Loki, Emma Frost in the current meta, but I think those are genuinely just strong characters. As far as we've seen, ever since the launch of the game from Season 0, there has yet to be a character that is released that has completely broken the meta. You have your characters that have cycled in and out of the meta and been really strong in certain seasons, but then they were immediately tuned back down to be a little bit weaker or not as effective in the meta, i.e. Wolverine and Black Panther, and even Spider-Man in the earlier seasons before anyone figured anything out. But let's look at the game as a whole. The devs around Marvel Rivals have done an exceptional job at balancing, especially with their extremely fast release window for characters. The easiest way that I can illustrate this point is taking a look at Marvel's direct competitor, Overwatch. The original Overwatch game released with 21 characters at launch, and at launch everything was fine and peachy keen. People were loading the game, there weren't very many issues with characters being too broken, and if characters were a little overtuned, they were balanced relatively frequently with no issues. After launch, like most games do, Overwatch would add more content in the form of maps and game modes, but most importantly, new characters. The first character added after launch was Ana. Perfectly fine, didn't shake up the meta too much, a nice decent support, and the game still felt balanced. Then we got Sombra, a nice DPS, again, didn't shake up things too much. Then we got Orisa, Doomfist, Moira. All great characters that really didn't completely break the game. But then, their sixth post-release character, bringing the roster up to 27, was Brigitte. And Brigitte completely fucked the meta. She was the bane of people's existence for the longest time. And if you ask a lot of people then and now, that was the beginning of the end for Overwatch as a game. A lot of people quit playing Overwatch because of the launch of Brigitte. She was incredibly strong. Not just incredibly strong, she was good and truly broken. She defined the meta from low ranks to high ranks to professional play. If you didn't have a Brigitte on your team, you were throwing the game. It was so bad that they had to release multiple patches to try to address Brigitte and what she had done to the meta. Now this is with only 27 characters in the game. Marvel Rivals, on the other hand, launched with 33 playable characters. So already it had 12 more characters that you could play with on launch in comparison to Overwatch 1. And no character at that time was genuinely broken in the same way that Brigitte was. Not even close. And since launch, Rivals has added 9 characters as of the recording of the video and are set to add another shortly after the release of this video. And in the current state, Marvel Rivals is still considerably balanced for the amount of playable characters that you have. Every time there's a new character released, their trailers make us feel that there is the potential for this character to completely shake up the meta and be broken beyond reason and just be way too strong. But every time we get our hands on the character and actually start using them, they're either pretty balanced or not all that good. We have yet to have a character release that has done as much damage to people's psyche as Brigitte did during her release in Overwatch 1. And I think that's commendable. I think we should give the development team a lot of praise and a lot of respect for the amount of care they take into balancing characters and constantly updating the game so that no character truly feels that oppressive. Now, I know you may be thinking about the characters that are strong, ones that you may not like, and ones that you may not like to come across in matches because perhaps they are a hard counter for the character that you play and make it a little bit harder to be effective in your match, and that's perfectly fine. But that is part of the gameplay loop of playing a hero shooter. Certain characters will perform better against other characters, but that doesn't mean that these characters are broken, and I don't think that we have seen a single character be completely broken. Now, I know I ragged on Overwatch's initial design philosophy and how they did kind of jack up the meta with the release of Brigitte, but when they released Overwatch 2, they did figure it out.
C-A-P Cap!
I'm lying, they completely fucked it again. 5 characters later, 5 post-launch characters later, they release Mauga, a super strong tank that completely fucked the meta again.
Sorry to keep you all waiting, but now that I'm here, let's have some fun. Yep, that's my name, all right.
This time, though, they were a lot more proactive in adjusting him so he isn't as oppressive as Brigitte was for as long as she was. So hats off to them for fixing it, but goddamn Overwatch, why do you keep doing that? But I'm just a guy who yaps into the microphone, and I'm just talking about what I've seen. If you disagree, sure, why not? But I want to applaud Rivals for what they've done and the amount of care and effort they put into balancing the characters and trying to make a fun game. And with all the matchmaking woes that we still have and perhaps some of the issues with maps and content, it is pleasing to see that they're actually moving at a steady pace and consistently giving us content and updates and consistently adding fresh features to the meta, be it team-ups or just new characters or just new ways to interact or balance changes, whatever it may be. I feel like Rivals is incredibly balanced and I hope they continue along that path. Thanks for watching. Behave yourself.